Welcome, everyone. Today is December 31st, New Year's Eve. So I'd like to just spend a few moments with you to talk today about a food for thought that's been on my mind understanding cybersecurity risk. Today, we'll talk about the important shared responsibility when it comes to cybersecurity. You see, everyone has a role to play in maintaining digital security. So, first, let's think about our employees. Then we think about our customers, and then even you as an individual all have a part to play in keeping cyber threats at bay, whether it's using strong passphrases on every site you use, both personally and professionally, ensuring that you update your software regularly, challenge you now, check your browser, make sure that you don't have the warning to restart your browser to update, and always being cautious when clicking on links and attachment. Every single one of us can do our bit to protect both ourselves, our family, and our organizations. So, with that, let's dive into security risks are present in every aspect of our lives. For many of you, you've heard me talk about this in the past. It starts from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. So, it applies to our personal devices, all of our online accounts, to our businesses, and even government institutions. Today, we'll focus on a few key points to help us understand the risks that we face each and every day with inside of cybersecurity. The prominent one that we deal with day in and day out is phishing attacks. Each one of us, probably every morning when we open our email, have some kind of spam or unwanted email in our inbox. Attackers do this intentionally. They will email you at the start of the day. They want to catch you when you first boot up, when you're just getting your coffee, or just sitting down to eat your breakfast. They also may target you when you come back from lunch. If they understand that you take lunch at 11 a.m., they may hit you at noon. Or you go the traditional hour of 12 to 1, they may send you a spoofed email and a push notification and or a text message when you come back to your desk. Their ultimate goal is just to trick you into revealing sensitive information about yourself or the organization you work for. Phishing attacks will always be prevalent. We continue to take steps by deploying secure email gateways, filtering, we implement DMARC, DKIM, and SPF. But these are only steps to protect the security risk that comes along with phishing emails. Phishing doesn't have to just be emails. You can change it to whatever you want. It can be a smishing, which is your SMS. It can be a voice, especially with deep fakes and AI now. We need to be aware and how do we protect ourselves from phishing/social engineering attacks. Another one that we continue to deal with is ransomware. This is something that's going to be tricky for us to maintain and understand. This malware is there to lock up your data and demand payment. Majority of the time, it's extortion. Most of us have gotten better with our backups, so now they're just trying to leak your data. They're no longer just doing it just to lock you out of your business, but some may do that as well, hoping that you'll pay for an exchange of a decryption key. My apologies. Which leads to data breaches. Any of us and all of us can accidentally leak data. I shared a short yesterday. Be cautious if you work from home. If you have friends and family coming into your home today, make sure that you understand that they have access and eyes can see whatever is left on your desk. So follow a clean desk policy. Make sure that you lock away any sensitive information, you remove anything from your whiteboard that may be in your home office, and that you properly lock and or shut down your laptop prior to having guests in your home. If possible, lock your home office so that they don't just wander in and see this. Additionally, data breaches can happen inadvertently. You, yes, you, can accidentally email sensitive information to a non corporate account. This can be by accidentally putting in and auto completing your Gmail, your personal email, or a vendor's email with an attachment that contains IP addresses, social security cards, credit card information, etc. There are security controls that may stop this, called data loss prevention or protection tools that may look at these, but they're not foolproof. So be careful before you autocomplete. Be careful what information you attach to an email. And where possible, upload it and make the user log in so that you do not accidentally leak and cause a data breach. Additionally, lock down your sensitive information. Make sure that your databases have proper RBAC, that your file shares are properly secured, that you don't have default login creds of admin or admin password into your systems that would allow someone to accidentally or intentionally log in and steal your data. All data breaches are unauthorized access to sensitive information, either intentionally or unintentionally, which does and will lead to financial losses and reputational damages with inside of organizations. Next, denial of service or DOS attacks. These come in many different forms. You can have an accidental DOS by launching a new product and advertising it. This may or may not have happened during the Super Bowl a few years ago. Additionally, a very popular singer launched her tour and brought down Ticketmaster. These were not malicious denial of service attacks. These were availability attacks by the overwhelming traffic coming to the website due to the popularity and or the advertisement of that website. On the flip side, you may have your competitors, threat actors, who are trying to take your business offline. If your website is where you get most of your revenue because you're an e-commerce website, you want to protect yourself from a denial of service attack. You can't have your website go down if that's your primary means for earning business and selling your goods and services. So make sure that you take proper controls. Make sure you limit who can access your website, especially if you are worried about compliance requirements such as GDPR. Maybe you don't allow certain IP addresses from countries to hit your website, or you don't do business, you don't allow traffic. You can turn on throttling. You can put content delivery mechanisms in front so that you serve up the static pages so that they don't have to hit the website every time they want to get a piece of data that is static. These are just a few cyber risks that comes with being a business or just using data and devices. So common sources for these, as I've already alluded to, can be human error. Each of us make mistakes each and every day. It could be forgetting to tie our shoe and tripping and falling. It could be fat fingering or entering your password in the user field and pressing enter. For those who are not aware, you've now just leaked your password. Most websites and applications log the user field into their logs, more than likely in plain text. So if you do this, make sure you take time to reset your password, again, using unique passwords, unique passphrases, and that you're ensuring that you don't accidentally leak information by just putting your password into the user field. Additionally, when you share your screen, make sure you only share the screen that you want your guests, your potential clients to see. Don't share your entire desktop. You can accidentally overshare and be sharing sensitive information such as your Salesforce portal or a spreadsheet that contains usernames, passwords, credit cards, other personal identifiable information. These are all simple human errors that can cause security risk to you as a person and to your organization. Check for outdated software. If you're not using the software anymore, make sure that you uninstall it, both from your phone and your laptops and your desktops. Additionally, when you are updating your software, check for unlicensed software. You may have potentially unwanted programs that have been installed by downloading software from the non-vendor site. Clean up that. That's an attack vector that you're leaving your organization vulnerable to, and that is a risk. So make sure that you your software and systems regularly. I alluded at the beginning of this. Check your browser right now. More than likely, You're due to reboot your Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Brave due to an update that's been pushed while you were sleeping or since you've got your coffee or your breakfast this morning. Take time now to look for updates for all your software. As we're concluding out 2024, this is an opportunity just to clean up outdated and unwanted software on your tablets, your laptops, and your computer. Additionally, all of us now run small businesses in our homes. So, Fleetus, why do you think I run a small business in my home? All of us have probably 10 to 20 devices connected in our home right now. That's the equivalent of a small business. That could be your smart TVs, your smart thermostats, your mobile devices, your tablets, your laptops, and any IoT, Internet of Thing device. Fleetus, how do I know if I have those? Log into your router, see what's connecting. If you have an IoT, you likely know this because more and more products require you to launch a browser, go to a website to register the device and to manage it. That's an IoT device. That means it has an IP address. It means it's connected to your home network. You likely either shared it from your device or you typed in your username and password to allow it to connect to the internet. That means that refrigerator, your stove, your thermostat is actively talking to the internet. Look for firmware updates. Make sure you take time to patch these this holiday season. Additionally, we all have done poor network security in the past. We failed to implement firewalls properly. We haven't checked our rules. We haven't cleaned up our rules. We either didn't install antivirus or we installed it but never updated. Yes, most of your AVs or your endpoint protections will automatically get their updates, but just check to make sure it's still getting your updates. Look for the last time it checked in. What number is it? Do a quick search online to see if it's running the current or one version behind. This will leave you vulnerable to exploits if you're not properly patching and you're not implementing your security tools to protect because you no longer have a depth in defense. You're leaving yourself vulnerable to adversaries or other accidental errors, which can cause data to be leaked, data to be lost, or just for your data to be compromised. Additionally, I've already said that we are the primary attack vector. We also can be an insider risk. Yes, each and every one of us can be an accidental insider. Or we can be conversed to actually being a legitimate disgruntled insider, meaning we can be paid to email data, share data, print data, or just allow access to our systems when we're not around. Most of us sign acceptable user policies when we start a company, saying we do not allow anyone physical access to our devices, or we get permission to allow someone to remotely access our devices. Take time today to make sure that you understand what insider risk looks like to your company, what an insider threat actually is for your company, and how you can protect yourself from those. For example, don't allow a single person to make an account change so that you don't fall for a business email compromise. Require a two-person so that there has to be at least collusion. Additionally, for the CEO fraud scams, that's where a C-level requests you to buy gift cards, transfer money immediately because of a deal, that you have proper approvals, likely getting approval from the actual executive requesting it prior to making that account change, buying those gift cards, or making that wire transfer of $1 million. These are all things that we can take into effect that are common sources for security risks that we face today. So the consequences, we talked about a couple of them. There's financial loss, either directly or indirect cost associated with the responding to the attack. This could be a loss of productivity and or your revenue. You can also have reputational damage. This is the negative impact to your brand and image and customer trust due to a breach or a compromised security. For publicly traded companies, this is important. The SEC put requirements in that once a monetary loss is determined, you have several days, I think it's 4, to file it. This is where your 8Ks come into play. This is why you need a head of security or a CISO who will take the responsibility and be able to file and work with their legal teams to document that, leading into regulatory compliance issues. Failure to meet these requirements could be devastation, especially for a small to mid-sized business. You could go out of business due to having to pay the fines that's associated with it. Additionally, compliance requirements are not always easy. Sometimes, if you don't stay updated on them, you can inadvertently be out of compliance. So this is why it's important to make sure that you have governance, risk, and compliance individuals, either on staff, on retainer, who can come in and help you with auditing your systems, checking your third-party risk management, and allowing you to protect yourself from data leakage and data privacy concerns. Do risk assessments. These are great ways to mitigate security assessment. Identify potential threats, then evaluate their likelihood and their impact. Implement security controls that I've mentioned. Install your firewalls, not just plug them in. Configure them. Deploy rules that are applicable to your environment. Use encryption, both in transit and at rest. Apply other security measures to prevent and detect attacks. This could be content filtering. This could be a web app firewall or next-gen devices to allow you to prevent and detect attacks. Train your employees, not just annually. Give them micro-learning. Send them 1 to 3 minute videos that they can take time to watch while they're having their coffee, while they're eating their lunch, or when they come back from lunch. Give timely and relevant information to them. Find an article that came in on Monday or over the weekend and share how your company will mitigate that attack if they're impacted. If they're not impacted, share that with them so that they understand that they're not at risk. Additionally, make it personal. Show them how they can apply the same things at home. As I alluded earlier in this session, security starts from the time you wake up. You make decisions each and every morning when you get out of bed, what you're going to click on, what you're going to do, and how you're going to respond. Because humans are emotional. We can click on things because we're happy or we're sad. Unlike a computer who just processes the ones and zeros. This is where training is important, so that you give individuals the opportunity to understand what they will do before the event happens. This is why training is important. And exercises. Do tabletop exercises. This will help with the incident response planning. Because when you're building out your incident response plan, also known as an IRP, you can test it by doing tabletop exercises. These tabletop exercises should be multiple different levels. You should have one for the executives only. You should have one for the IR and SOC, Security Operations Center. And then you should also do one that's targeted to a specific line of business. Another one that I think is fun is use the tabletop for security awareness programs. Bring in line of businesses and allow them to be giving a security awareness topic as part of the tabletop and see how they respond. And then grade and give feedback based on how they respond, similar to what you would do during a tabletop exercise where you're testing your incident response plan. So some best practices that we can follow and implement today. Keep your software up to date. Regularly update your operating systems, your Windows, your Macs, your Linux, your browsers, and other software that we talked about already. Remove software that's not in use. Unsubscribe from subscriptions so that your credit card is not on file. Make sure you update your payments regularly. Use strong passphrases. Create unique passwords that are lengthy over complexity. This is not a common knowledge anymore. Length is more important than the complexity. The longer your password is, the longer it would take to brute force, unless it's part of a dictionary attack. So when you create unique passwords, string together random words, write a sentence, a lot of your applications and operating systems now support the space. So you can physically write a sentence. Start with a capital letter, write a word, space, write a word, write a space, and then end with this respective punctuation. That will get your complexity in most environments because now you have an upper, a lower, and a special character. But instead of doing complex passwords where it's substituting out what the I's for ones, L's for ones, the S's for fives, you get your complexity by doing length. If your organization still requires you to have 3 or 4 of the variables. Again, length is more important than complexity. At minimum, you should have a 12-character password. I recommend at least 14. And generate these with password managers. Yes, there's risk of using password managers, but at the same time, there's more risk for you reusing your password because it's simple for me to go out to have you been pwned, put in an email address, and see what's been known for that email and if the password has been leaked as well. Enable multi-factor Authentication. Make sure that if the application supports it, you turn it on. This could be getting a push notification to your phone. This could be using biometrics, your fingerprint, your retina, your other forms of identification, or having a one-time code that's on a physical fob, or putting in a UV key that you plug in that has a key pair established for you. Yes, this requires a little more time, but it also allows, if that password is leaked, you to be more secure, because they would need to have that factor, the authentication app, your biometric, etc. Back up your important data. Regularly back up any critical information in case you lose your laptop, your phone, or your desktop. Don't just back up, but have a validated restore. Funny joke I like to use is Schrodinger's backup. Your data is both good and bad at the same time, and it's only registered when you actually open and restore. So at any moment in time, your data is both corrupt and available until you try to do a validated restore. So take time today to do a restore of some of your critical information. Restore it to an external drive. Restore it to another device. Follow the 3-2-1 strategy. Have 3 copies of your data on 2 different media types, with one of them being offline. So that way, at any given time, you never have the worry of losing all 3 copies of your data because one of them is not accessible or on the internet. With security awareness, continue to find ways to train your employees and educate them. I've shared a couple tips. Continue to find other ways. Do gamification. Find ways to engage your users. It starts with them. They are your primary attack vector, but they're also your best asset. They are your best blue team member in most organizations, because when they see something, they can say something. Yes, our tools will likely catch it, but the sooner a user reports it, the sooner the help desk and or your security operations center can take the proactive and corrective actions by initiating their playbooks or their incident response plans. Promote a culture of security. Encourage a culture where security is everyone's responsibility, not just IT's. We all have been in organizations, if you haven't, where it's dictated. This is what we're doing no matter what. Well, that's wrong. When security impedes the business isn't wrong, security is. Our job as a security practitioner and security leader is to enable the business and make sure that their systems are available. We don't need to be Fort Knox. Most of us need to ensure that we are allowing our employees to properly check their email, access applications on the web, and make sure that their tasks are completed in a reasonable time frame. Yes, our security controls may slow down their practices, but they should never halt them. Implement regular security audits. Make sure that you perform audits to identify vulnerabilities and improve the overall security posture. Without an audit, all you have is a best hope that you have proper controls in place. Start with internal audits before you have your external. As I alluded, there's compliance requirements such as SOC, ISO, that are going to make you do audits anyways. So take time now to audit your processes and procedures, both for the IT and security team, but also be willing to help audit the different business units and see how they are handling it. Now you know what I'm thinking and what I'm talking about. Why is security so critical? Well, when your team members understand how to identify and report suspicious activity, they become an additional layer of security for your organization. It helps them stay ahead of emerging threats, because we have to navigate new and evolving technology daily. It's critical that we stay informed about the emerging threats and technology. This is why we stay ahead of the game. We make sure that we're tuning in to podcasts, reading reliable news sites, sharing and networking with our peers, because we have to stay up to date on the latest trends and best practices to be better equipped to protect both ourselves and our organizations from cyber attacks. Let me emphasize this again. This knowledge will not only safeguard your digital assets, but it will also give you a competitive edge in the market. So make sure that you are staying up to date on industry threats, industry news, who's merging with who's being bought, who's launching new products, what new adversaries are coming to place. Get involved with your local information sharing groups for the business sector you're in. So for finance or telecom or utilities, these are great places to get information sharing and get trusted insights and indicators. Don't underestimate the power of training your employees. They can make all the difference in preventing a cyber attack and keeping your digital assets safe, your organization brand positive, and ultimately ensuring that you are aware of the attacks that are happening on your organization. As I alluded earlier, they are the primary attack vector, but they're also your best blue team member, as they are targeted daily, hourly, and when they see something, they should have a strong security culture where they can say something, even if they fall for the phishing or social engineering attack. Never shame your employees. Thank them for reporting and find ways to help with corrective action, lessons learned. Testimonies from users who have fallen victim is one of the best ways of educating their peers, because they can say, I fell for this, and so can you. It's even better when you have a security practitioner be that employee. I fell for a phishing scam. I gave away my information because I was emotional. I was excited. I was sad. I was overworked. I was burned out. Whatever you want to fill in there. Our emotions lead to us falling victim, the human error that comes as part of that. So as we wrap up, understanding cybersecurity risk requires knowledge of various types of threats, common sources of risk, consequences, and strategies for mitigating. By implementing best practices, promoting a culture of security awareness, and staying up to date with the latest security measures, you can minimize the impact of the risk and protect your digital assets. Remember, cybersecurity is a shared responsibility. Staying ahead of the emerging threats requires continuous learning, and cybersecurity awareness is critical for protecting your organization's assets, both physical and digital. I appreciate you tuning in today for my food for thoughts. If you have any questions or topics you'd like to explore, don't hesitate to reach out. With that, I would like to thank you for coming to today's Food for Thought. And if you don't mind, I will leave you with this little meme. I'm just thinking and keeping it in my private cloud. Thank you again for joining. Please like and subscribe, and I look forward to interacting with you guys all again in another video. I have several other series out there. Feel free to take a chance and review those, share those with your peers. And with that, I will leave you all to this New Year's Eve. Have a great one, and Happy New Year to all of you.